roadside bomb in southern Afghanistan has killed 5 Afghan border policemen while an insurgent attack elsewhere in the country left 1 NATO service member dead. General Abdul Razak, chief of the border police in Kandahar province, says 1 other border policeman was wounded in the blast on Thursday night in the Spinbola district along the Pakistan border. The NATO service member was killed Thursday in the east following an insurgent attack. So far this year, 128 coalition troops have died in Afghanistan. In the north, militants attacked a coalition fuel convoy Thursday night in Bushi district of Baghlan province. The governor's office says 2 tankers were burned and 7 others were damaged. U.S. troops could reach a turning point in Afghanistan this year if they can prevent the Taliban from retaking certain areas seized from their control, U.S. Defense Secretary Robert Gates said on Thursday. Gates told a news conference at the Pentagon that military commanders were expecting an increase in Taliban activity in May and June after the poppy harvest ends. But a decisive shift could occur later in the year if U.S. troops are able to hold positions they had won back from Taliban fighters and expand areas under Afghan control, calling 2011 a critical year. The U.S. Marine Corps General James Cartwright, Vice Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, also said U.S. forces were positioning themselves to cut off Taliban supply lines from the south and southeast to prevent the militants from getting fresh supplies or build stocks. At least 4 missiles fired by 2 suspected U.S. drone aircraft hit a house in Pakistan's tribal region of North Waziristan on the Afghan border on Friday. Pakistani intelligence officials say at least 25 people were killed in the drone strike. They targeted what one Pakistani official termed a militant guest house in Hassan Khel near the region's main town of Maransha. Several people were also wounded in the attack, which took place at around 4:30 a.m. local time. An official said, adding that the toll could be higher. Reports indicate that at least 7 women and children were among the dead. Meanwhile, in a separate development, at least 14 Pakistani security forces personnel were killed when hundreds of fighters crossed the border with Afghanistan into Pakistan at Lower Deer between Thursday and Friday, security forces say. In the other development on Friday, U.S. military officials said that Pakistan would be getting 85 small Raven remotely operated surveillance aircraft. The official is speaking on condition of anonymity, refused to disclose any further details about the non-lethal short-range aircraft, which are manufactured by U.S.-based AeroVironment. Senator John McCain, one of the strongest proponents in the U.S. Congress of American military intervention in Libya, has arrived in Benghazi for talks with rebels fighting to overthrow Muammar Gaddafi. His arrival on Friday came close on the heels of the U.S. president approving the use of armed drones in Libya against ground forces for the first time since America handed over the military operation to NATO. McCain denied concerns about the possibility of extremist or Al-Qaeda elements fighting alongside the rebel forces, saying the rebel fighters are his heroes. The first armed drone mission since Barack Obama's go-ahead was flown on Thursday, but the aircraft armed with Hellfire missiles turned back due to poor weather conditions without firing any of its munitions. Predator drones have routinely been flying surveillance missions in Libya. Robert Gates, the U.S. Defense Secretary, told reporters at a Pentagon briefing on Thursday. He said the U.S. will provide up to 2 24-hour combat air patrols each day by the unmanned Predators. Libyan state television said on Friday that 9 people were killed overnight in NATO bombardment of Sirte, Gaddafi's hometown. Massive crowds have taken to the streets of Yemen's capital Sana'a to demand the immediate resignation of President Ali Abdullah Saleh a day after Arab leaders urged him to quit under Gulf Cooperation Council plan. Anti-government protesters held a demonstration in the center of the capital on the weekly day of communal prayers for Muslims, which has in recent weeks become an occasion for rival political rallies in the country. The rallies of the president also held a rival demonstration nearby on Friday, while thousands of anti-government demonstrators also gathered in the southern city of Taiz, an opposition stronghold. Parliamentary opposition groups in Saleh's government have been mulling a plan formulated by Arab leaders under which Saleh would step down 30 days after the formation of a national unity government, but protesters in Sana'a say they reject such a plan. The Peaceful Youth Revolt, a group that has helped organize protests against Saleh's government, issued a statement rejecting the GCC initiative, saying it does not include Saleh's immediate ouster and provides safeguards to him, his family and aides, who are all killers. On Thursday, the plan formulated by Gulf Arab mediators calling for a 3-month transition that would end with a presidential election was made public by a government official. Activists across Syria are gearing up for what they call Great Friday, the largest protest to date against Bashar al-Assad, the president, in what could turn out to be a decisive day for Syria. The demonstrations will test whether Assad's decision on Thursday to lift emergency law imposed by his Ba'ath party when it took power in a coup 48 years ago will diffuse mass discontent with repression and corruption. Added by his family and a pervasive security apparatus, Assad's 45 has absolute power in Syria. More than 220 protesters have been killed since pro-democracy protests erupted on March 18th in the southern city of Daraa, including 21 protesters killed this week, and Homs rights campaigners say a decree Assad signed on Thursday that lifted emergency law is seen by the opposition as little more than symbolic, since other laws still give entrenched security forces wide powers. Human Rights Watch said that Assad has the opportunity to prove his intentions by allowing Friday's protest to proceed without violent repression. Japan has drawn up an emergency budget worth about $50 billion to help finance reconstruction and rehabilitation efforts in the wake of the earthquake and tsunami that hit the country on March 11th. The Japanese cabinet has approved the budget for 4.02 trillion yen, the finance ministry said on Friday. The country's parliament is expected to pass the budget next week, and should be enacted by May. About 1.2 trillion yen have been allocated to fix roads and ports damaged by the twin disasters which decimated much of industrial northeastern Japan. Over 362 billion yen have also been allocated to build temporary house for survivors of the disaster, with another 352 billion yen for clearing rubble. Earlier, the government had said that the total cost of the 9 magnitude earthquake and 15-meter tsunami could hit $309 billion. Naoto Kan, the country's prime minister, meanwhile, has said that a sizable second extra budget would be required at some point in the future. And elections for the governors of 2 states in Nigeria's predominantly Muslim north have been postponed, officials have announced. The delay follows days of daily violence as Goodluck Jonathan, a Christian from the south, won Saleh's presidential election. At least 200 people have been killed and several thousand injured in riots in northern areas. The Electoral Commission said that the poll on Tuesday would not go ahead in Bauchi and Kaduna states because of security concerns. The announcement came just hours after President Goodluck Jonathan vowed in a televised address to the nation that the elections for state governors would go ahead as order was being restored to the nation. Some 34 governed national polls will go ahead as planned, said the officials. Rioting erupted in major northern cities after incumbent Jonathan, who leads the People's Democratic Party, was declared winner of the presidential poll with 57% of the ballots, easily beating his rival Muhammadu Buhari with 31%. An estimated 40,000 people have been displaced in the violence in the country's mostly Muslim north. And that is all for now. Thanks for staying with Afghan News.